Okay, here we are. We're looking at our second lot of body paragraphs, and today we're going to look at the basic body paragraph. Now, as I've said, this is a good sort of body paragraph to have under your belt. This is the sort of thing you can have your conclusion, you can have your introduction, and you could have, 4 or so of these bad boys on the go, and you would be, that would be sufficient. Those others will add a little bit of extra flair, but this, could serve your purposes. We've got an acronym to help us remember that: PEAL, point, evidence, explanation, and link. And notice there, this is not a 4-sentence paragraph structure. It could be, it could be 8 sentences, it could be 9 or 10, depending on how many sentences you put in your evidence, explanation, and you may have more than one sentence for both your link or your point. So, what I've done here is we're just thinking about our initial question about a powerful emotional moment. And so just as a bit of a help, I've done the first sentence there. So much of the emotion conveyed in the short scene is shown through the faces of the prisoners as they are affected by the music. And our second sentence, as we start in on the evidence, I've just led that off with what we call our magic sentence. We're going to provide our evidence, but we're going to use those words through the use of, which shows analysis, which we have to do. Now, what we can do at this point is have a quick look back at our examples, and we've got this big yellow example here of the long shots of the prisoners showing up their reactions. We've got cross-cutting between different areas of the prison. There's a brief close-up on red. There's a shot panning the infirmary. And in fact, with that shot of the infirmary, we've got prisoners getting out of their sick beds to go to the window and look at what we can only assume is the loudspeaker, because it's a sound that's coming through the prison. So we can use that, but we need to use that through the use of before we put those specific examples in. We give an explanation about this evidence demonstrates, Darabont wanting to emphasize the power of the music and how that music has affected the prisoners, their awe and their contemplation. And you might also link that to Red's dialogue, where, he finishes by, for just a second, every man felt free. In fact, we'll have a look back at that. And for a moment, every last man at Shawshank felt free. So our link, we write a linking sentence to the next paragraph, or back to the question, powerful emotional moment. But the next paragraph is also worth a look. Okay, and I've got the slam dunk paragraph structure here for us to have a bit of a go at. Okay, try the slam dunk paragraph. Now, so this paragraph is going to be more along the lines of, why is the moment that Andy commandeers the prison PA system considered a powerful emotional moment? So we're going to talk a little bit about Andy and why he would choose to do that. And as you can see, our slam dunk paragraph structure, we open it with a question we intend to answer. Why is the moment considered a powerful emotional moment? And our second sentence, we start with an adverb. And we like to use an adverb because often, but not always, an adverb gives some sort of judgment. It can be perceptive. Not always necessarily. If you use the word firstly or secondly, there's not much judgment there. Okay, I've got the word interestingly. There's a little bit of judgment there. emphasising that it's of interest. Interestingly, this is the first scene. And, for example, we might have, this is the first scene that Andy Dufresne actively defies the authority of the prison hierarchy and the prison warden and the guards. He's asked, well, it's at least the first time that we're aware of it. Yes, he buys a rock hammer, but that stuff is sort of furtive and behind the scenes. This is in the guards' faces. First, he locks a guard in the toilet, and the guard is calling for Andy, let me out. And then later in the scene, Warden Norton, Captain Hadley, and other guards are at the door, knocking on the door, making threats, and so forth. Andy completely ignores them, and they break the door down and drag him off to solitary. So that's some of our evidence there, and I've given you some anecdotes, but we can actually look at the dialogue from the guard on the toilet who is pleading, "Andy, let me out." We can see close-up shots of his hands locking the door. We can, to keep the guards out, in a close-up of the PA microphone as Andy switches it on. So there are some specific bits and pieces there that we could use as evidence in this slam dunk. The impact, okay, we could discuss how this foreshadows Andy's later rebellion as he leaves the prison and, is able to indict all the Warden Norton and Captain Hadley and so forth for the corruption inside the prison. And we finish this off with a very short sentence driving home our point in 5 words or less. Something to do with Andy there, okay, depending on what examples you have used. So those are our 2 paragraphs we're looking at here, the slam dunk and the basic body paragraph. PEEL, point, evidence, explanation, link. And we haven't got a fancy acronym for the slam dunk, just a fancy name. I don't like it much. I'm not very good at basketball.